WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stewart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rizacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes,
Sleep apnea, heart disease.
everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price. Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning, Stuart, Florida. I hope everybody's having a great day wherever you're listening to this. Maybe it's day, maybe it's night, maybe you're in Tibet and you're online and you just woke up to my smiling face. Somebody said, hey, you got to go to that WSTU.com. Listen to some of those shows on there. It's really very beneficial because, they're not getting much information over in other countries. So my name is Dr. Tred Rizacker. I am your excitable chiropractor. I'm here having fun, living life, loving life. It just is absolutely incredibly. So far, I've survived the last 20 months of the pandemic, of the lockdown. 20 months. What is that? 30 times 2. God, it's a lot of days, something like 600 and something days of lockdown, man, of masks and fear and all kinds of stuff. It amazes me that I'm as functioning as I am, because fear is a big problem for most of us. Most health problems come from fear and emotional problems. So if they are not full of it, I put on NPR this morning. It's my favorite propaganda station to listen to if I want to find out the agenda. Not the real agenda, but the current agenda. And man, it was all about Omicron variants. And I am not going to claim to be an expert on Omicron or anything that has to do with COVID, but I am an expert on healthcare, on wellness care and natural healthcare. And I can tell you that a lot of what you're reading and seeing is not natural. And it's probably, you need to take it with very carefully. Medicine is very similar to eating a fish. I love fish. I love seafood, but I don't eat the whole thing. There's bones in there. There's sharp objects that could get caught in your throat. So you pick carefully around your fish, you pick out the good parts and you leave the bad parts. And that's really what I would have to say about the current state of medicine today. And this medical tyranny that we're undergoing. There's some good parts, but there's a lot of bad ones. And you really need to be knowledgeable so you can migrate your way and make your way through this mess of truths and misinformations and agendas and all of these different facets to this incredible last 20 months. I mean, it's mind blowing, consuming all of us. Every time I want to get in and talk about natural health care and other things, I get people text me and people on my email that said, tell us more about the COVID. We want to know your opinion about this and your opinion about that. And, unfortunately, the only free platform left, it seems, is the radio. They've effectively censored opinions and dissenting opinions on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube channels, on videos. And unless you have a website, which nobody can find you or see it, you can't, promote it. You can't put any kind of Google AdWords or Facebook ads to attract people to it. If you have some ideas about healthcare and about wellness, you're not going to be able to get that out. And the ability to go out and meet with people, meet in groups of like-minded individuals has been complete. And, it's hard to share when you have a mask on and you're not even, anymore. So this has been a perfect scenario for, all authoritarian control, right? Stop opinions, stops, censor speech, make medical doctors and professionals, ostracize them, threaten their livelihood, threaten their hospital privileges if they speak out against, not against, if they share their own knowledge about healthcare, if they share their experience. Medicine is called the practice of medicine for a reason. It is not perfect. It's a practice. They don't say, the application of medicine. Oh, you're a doctor and what do you do? Well, I apply medicine. No, you practice medicine. And practice means it's not going to be perfect. But a doctor goes to college, takes tests. He deals with other peers in his circle of influence, other doctors. When they make mistakes or they see things that aren't normal or things that seem like they might be hurting people, they speak up, people listen, they make decisions, and then they change protocols. It's called practice. It's a healthy way of I thought that's how we practiced medicine and chiropractic and healthcare in America. I thought that, a doctor patient relationship is sanctum. It cannot be penetrated legally, by the way. Just like an attorney client privilege is locked in, a doctor's relationship with his patient or her patient is sanctimary. It's sanctified. You can't mess with it. The only time that you can come in as a third to determine the relationship between a doctor and a patient is if you're a third party who's paying the bill. In other words, if you're an insurance company and you sign up, you give up your right to privacy because they're paying the bill for you. So as long as you have a third party that's paying for your care, an insurance company, Medicare, Medicaid, a health plan, you have given up your right to privacy and the right to sovereignty over your own decisions, because the third party is now is paying for that. And the third party is the one who says, we want proof. We want to know why you're doing this. We want to know how long you were there. We want to know if the doctor was licensed. They have the right to know that information. So we have taken the doctor-patient relationship and put a spike in it, separating you from your doctor. And at the same time, medicine has become industrialized. The freestanding doctor offices that we grew up with that were so common, every doctor was a general practitioner and he had a nice little patient base, or the OBGYN in the local community delivered all the babies. Remember those days? Now now you go to the baby clinic, you have to have your delivery at the hospital because all the OBGYNs in the area, they've been priced out of existence because of high malpractice. So they can't even function in a very normal way in a small business office. So they have to get in with these groups. They get in with the group from the Cleveland Clinic, used to be Martin Memorial Health Systems, or maybe they're with Lawnwood, or maybe they're with a company outside of here that's moving in on the births and delivery of children. And you belong to a corporate business model. Most doctors today, in order to keep privileges, in other words, if you go to your doctor's office and you are really sick, they need to be able to send you to the hospital. And in order to do that and be your doctor, in other words, still be your doctor, they have to have admitting privileges. If they don't have admitting privileges, if for some reason they're taken away, when you go to the hospital, you are assigned a doctor called a hospitalist. So if you walk in the ER and you got a bad problem, whatever it is, and you don't have a referral doctor, you get assigned a doctor from the clinic. And that clinician is now, he's an employee of the hospital system. He's not a self-employed person. And the testing that's recommended, the diagnostic protocols, the time spent, the every part of his or her application of their services has guides, and they have to follow the standards of care, not the standards of care from medically, but what the hospital has available to the patients. Some hospitals have enormous diagnostic capabilities. They have CT scans, they have PET scans, they have nuclear imaging, they have all of these incredibly expensive, very valuable tests. And if you go into one of those hospitals, you're going to get a lot of those tests because that's part of what they offer people. You go to a smaller hospital that's maybe in a smaller town, and they don't have all of that expensive imaging, you're not going to get that recommended as much as you would if you went to one of these larger centers. And so you say to yourself, well, I'd rather go to the hospital that has all the imaging. Well, there's some truth in that because they have more capability. However, the ones that really need the imaging are only a very small percentage of the people that come into a hospital. It's nice to have it, but let's be realistic. 60 to 80% of all diagnoses can be found through a very good case history, a physical exam, and a doctor's clinical experience. Is much more than looking at some ink blot on an x-ray after the guy who read 700 of them before you even got in there. He's been looking at these x-rays, and to you, they look like ink blots. To him, it looks like a tumor. And then another doctor will look at it and say, no, that's an artifact. And another one will say, oh, the patient moved. We got to get another one. In other words, medicine has become very unique, and it really a lot has to do with where you go. So I'm telling you this because I am a human, and humans get sick, as we all do. And when you are sick, the first thing you're going to do is, depending on how sick you are, come on, you're probably going to think of remedies that you learned when you were a kid, things your grandmother taught you, your mom did, chicken soup. Maybe she steeped herbs in a boiling water and put your head over it with a blanket, and it helped clear your sinuses. Maybe they had home remedies, right? And if that doesn't work, then what normally happens is a person will then meander onto the drugstore, CVS, Walgreens, or wherever, and they start looking at symptoms. They look at all the eye problems and sinus problems and breathing, and then they look for over-the-counter drugs that they remember from advertising might be beneficial for whatever's wrong with them. And they might take those for a while, or they'll go into medicine cabinets and take old antibiotics and other people's drugs that didn't use them. You see that a lot too. And what happens is when that doesn't really pan out and a person's not getting better, and then the family is like, you got to do something, you're not getting better. Then they go hopefully to either if they have a doctor, they'll go to a private practice, or they might walk into one of these urgent care centers, which are really just, referral houses for medicine. You go to the urgent care, they don't have the techniques or the technology. So they send you to the hospital, and eventually you end up in the ER, and with a problem that could have been treated very easily if you handled it earlier with the right treatment. Now it's a full-blown infection, and your foot is ready to fall off, and you've got black streaks running up your leg because of the blood infection, and you thought it was from you were out in the sun too long. Now we're very vulnerable. We're very needy. We're not going to be able to make any really good decisions about what we're to do. You are 100% vulnerable to what they would consider medical authority. And this isn't medical tyranny yet. This is medical authority. And I'm a doctor. I have a lot of experience. And I had a bladder stone, which is a funny little pebble that occurs in your bladder. And as you're peeing, urinating, it can cause your duct to get blocked. And let me tell you, if you ever had a bladder stone and it blocked your ability to urinate, you are in a critical condition. In about 8 hours, you're going to be in the hospital. So I lasted about 4 hours realizing, and I went and I had it removed. He blasted it out. And I was very, very grateful for that. Now, when I went in and saw the doctor, he really gave me two choices. He said, we can use your insurance, which had a high deductible, and we can go to the hospital. It'll run you about $12,000 at the hospital to have this laser lithotripsy, to blast the little stones apart is what they wanted to do. He says, or you can come in here for $1,500 cash. I can do it here in the office. No insurance. So I was like, well, let's do it. Came back next day, paid the fee, was sedated, and they did their process, and I was very happy and pleased with that. But, I had to make a very informed decision at that point, what I was going to do. Now, my father, who was a chiropractor for many years before me, 50 years before me, he said something that I didn't really believe him when he told me this, but I didn't know what he was talking about at the time. And he told me that if you're sick, the worst place you could go as far as cleanliness of possibly getting ill even more is to go to a hospital. In other words, you need to avoid hospitals. Why? Because they're dirty. They're full of germs, bacteria, viruses. It's a harbinger. It's like a petri dish of germs. The waiting rooms, the front desk, the people touching things. If you knew all the germs that were in there, you would just freak out. And however, your immune system, when it's functioning properly, protects you from all those germs and bacteria. That's why the people that work in there that are not sick aren't dropping dead. But if you go into one of these hospitals or into any ER situation where there's a lot of sick people going in and out all the time, and you are immunocompromised, in other words, your immune system is not as strong as it should be because of maybe it's pre-existing conditions. Maybe it's just your bad habits. You're a sugar junkie, or you're an alcoholic, and you get infected. You are a huge risk at getting acquired infections in hospitals when you go there and you're very sick. So just know that you want to avoid hospitalization as much as you possibly can. All right. And home care, ambulatory home care. Ambulatory means you're being cured at home. And the real push here in COVID, alternative care, I don't want to say alternative care, but the care that's being the most effective at stopping death and preventing hospitalization and preventing the intubation and all of the problems with hospitalization. The new push is for ambulatory care. It's home care. It's treating a diagnosis of COVID from a test, a positive PCR test that tells you have COVID, whether you have symptoms or not. There is a protocol that you need to get on right away that your doctor can recommend to you, and you do it at home. And then it's a way to, and then once you get those therapeutic agents, your chances of going into the hospital become less than 3%. And that's, studies are out there. I mean, it's true. Now, if you wait until you go through if you wait until you get really sick and you're having difficulty breathing because you went to you called the doctor and found out you tested positive for COVID, you called your family doctor and they said, don't come in here. Right? That's what they say. You go to the ER, you call up the ER and said, I've been tested positive with COVID. I have a mild flu and I got some temperature. What do you want me to do? They're going to tell you to stay home and then see and wait and monitor your symptoms. If it gets worse and you're having problems breathing, then they're acceptable that you'll go into the hospital. And when you get into the hospital, that's a whole nother story. They won't let you see your family. They isolate you. They won't allow you to do any of your therapeutics. If you try to, if one of your friends says, "Hey, I had read about this therapeutic that has been helping a lot of people, and maybe you could see if your husband can benefit from it. I heard he went into the ER." They won't let you give it to him. They control the whole protocol at that point. And there are thousands and thousands and thousands of stories of family members having their loved ones go into the hospital, and they're struggling and fighting for their lives. And they want to bring in some outside therapeutics that are not necessarily have the FDA approvals from the government, but have been shown to be effective in clinical work, in trials, in clinical experience. And they're arresting them. I mean, they're hammering them. They're controlling their business model. So I just want to implore upon you that you have to take control of your health here. You cannot allow what you used to do 10 and 15 years ago, and then you had a pass in some way. That's not going to hold true today. Life is becoming more difficult. And if you're not taking care of your overall health with fat reduction, with drinking plenty of fresh water, the basics, people, lots of fruits and vegetables, taking supplementation and minerals and supplementation, especially vitamin D, zinc, right? And vitamin C, essential fatty acids. That should be a standard that everybody should be taking. Your chances of getting sick are greatly reduced with natural methods practiced consistently. This is not rocket science. There's no, so that's really been my message my whole career. It has nothing to do with COVID. I've always practiced this way. If it wasn't COVID, then it's heart disease. If it's not heart disease, it's diabetes. If it isn't diabetes or heart disease, it's some kind of autoimmune arthritic condition that people seem to acquire as they get older, where their joints become fused and stiff and painful. They have inflammation. They end up with breast cancer. Women get breast cancer, and men will develop prostate cancer. Over 10, 15, 20 years it takes for prostate cancer to grow. Starts out as benign hypertrophy. A lot of people, they attribute it to a crappy diet, a diet full of processed foods, sugars, toxins. It builds up in your tissues. It builds up in your systems, and you can't get rid of it. And eventually your body does its best, which is creates inflammation to try to get rid of it. Or there's many, many ways the body tries, but you eventually will set yourself up to need medicine. Remember, medicine's like a fish. If you're going to eat a fish, there's a lot of good parts, but there's a lot of parts you don't want to eat. So, when you end up in medicine and you've neglected your health, and you've created these illnesses and situations over time, medicine comes at you with all its prongs, full force, especially if you have good coverage. All right. Or Medicare or Medicaid is paying for it. That's going to be the difference. You've got this group of people that go to the doctors and hospitals that are underinsured. They get less treatment and less care than somebody that has great insurance or has Medicare or Medicaid. And since the medical treatment can be quite invasive, cutting, burning, doing shots, giving you chemicals to change symptoms, the more you use, the better the more chances you have of having problems. So it's actually better to go into the hospital underinsured, I think. And then they're going to give you just what's needed at that time because they don't want to pay the bill. And this, so I want you to embrace, I beg you to take better care of your health. That today is the day that you say no more. I'm done. I'm going to be healthier. And if I can't do this on my own, I'm going to make promises to yourself. You got to promise to yourself that you'll eat better. You'll get that body fat down. You'll exercise more. You'll stop being negative and being full of poison and hate. You shouldn't be anything that you hate other than, being hurt. Right. And start working on your health. There's a lot of help out there. There's a lot of people that will do that. What I'm going to do here, and we're coming up on the half hour here. We're not going to take a break. We're going right through because this is important stuff. I am going to go over a little bit about some of the results that we've had at the Slim Body Spa. I went in and I brought a book. I have 6 of these books, and they're full of testimonials. They're actual people that have lived in the area, that have been to the spa, and they shared their story with you. Some of them were trying to beat COVID. They realized, a great percentage of our clients today, in fact, we've been really slam busy since the summer. Not last year, the COVID, everybody stayed in and was hiding. They thought it was better to hide because of all the fear in the media going around that this COVID was, spreading like a cloud coming over. And they find out maybe that's not true. And they're starting to come out. And you know what? When you come out of hibernation and you're eating and, animals hibernate, they don't eat in hibernation. They get skinny when they come out because they have no food. They're sleeping. When humans come out of hibernation, out of COVID lockdown, they're fat. I'm telling you, 15, 20, 30 pounds. Some of my clients have put on in the year of COVID. They knew they were getting fat, but hey, it's COVID. It gave me a little bit of I'm not working. I've got money coming in. In fact, I know one guy that built a kitchen at his house in March of 2020. Well, actually in April of 2020, he got a big check. He was laid off. He had stopped working and he was being paid. And he put a $40,000 kitchen in his house. And of course, he cooked through the whole winter of 20 and then the early 21. And this summer, he came in and he's 30 pounds overweight. And he put it on since the beginning of COVID. This is really common, you guys. It used to be the COVID-15. You've heard the COVID-15. I'm telling you, it is the COVID 25 and 30. If you're one of those people who's gained weight since COVID and you're full of inflammation, you're peeing, your bladder is at, you can't hold your urine because there's always urgency. If your joints are swollen, if your feet are starting to be numb and tingling, feels like you're walking on wadded up paper towels under your feet. If you haven't seen your feet in a year because you can't see through over your belly, and your blood pressure's jacked up, your cholesterol's high, people are pointing it out that, you've jumped 1-2 pant sizes or 2 or 3 dress sizes since last year. You need to call us. I have openings especially for you. We have preserved some of our best times, and nothing is critically important as getting that body fat down. I beg you, because there's something we call comorbidities in medicine. And I'm sure most people 2 years ago never even heard of a comorbidity. They didn't even know what it meant. Today, I bet half of you know what a comorbidity is. A comorbidity is a health problem that you have which leads you vulnerable to getting sick if you get another health problem. So somebody that has heart disease and then they get a flu or a fever, and they're very vulnerable to getting sick from it because they have a pre-existing condition which makes them vulnerable to that problem. And that's called a comorbidity. So there's really six comorbidities that are listed as a 40% chance of dying if you were to be infected with COVID or any flu or virus. It's not just COVID, it's other things too. 40% likely to die. And here's the 6 comorbidities. The first one is heart disease. If you have cardiovascular disease, you're a huge risk of dying if you were to ever get exposed to a virus or an infection or something. Your system is weak because of the heart disease. Number 2, it would be breathing, emphysema, or asthma. These are conditions which lead you very vulnerable to respiratory illnesses. COVID's a respiratory illness. It's something that goes into your lungs. And the asthma and emphysema and COPD, these are comorbidities that leave you very vulnerable to dying if you were to get sick because your lungs can't function properly. Okay. Another one is diabetes. High blood sugar, hyperglycemia, full-on diabetes, which is either type 1 or type 2. You know, your body is not able to handle sugar anymore. Either you've been eating too much sugar or not taking care of your health or not exercising or eating too much processed food, and you've developed diabetes. Diabetes is a condition which weakens your vascular system and your body's ability to repair and repair damaged tissue, which is why people with diabetes have such chronic ulcers and foot problems and vision problems. It's a vascular disease. Diabetes is vascular disease. And if you were to get COVID or any infection or any kind of cut on your foot, you're very vulnerable to having a super bad outcome because you have diabetes as a pre-existing condition. So that's called a comorbidity. That's number 3. 4 is cancer. Yeah, anyone that's got a history of cancer or active cancer where they were treated, you know, they're at a huge risk of having health problems as a result of getting sick. And number 5, which is super common, is now being obese. Now, 10 years ago, obesity was not considered a comorbidity. Okay. Now we know, and you know, and I know, and everyone you ever ask knows that if you're super fat and you're not exercising and you're not taking care of yourself, that you will have heart disease, cancer, strokes. That's another comorbidity, by the way, stroke, and all the things that come with it. And it's because you're carrying too much body fat around and the systems are starting to break down. Humans are not designed to carry fat, by the way, not that much fat. We're designed to eat a lot of food when we're hungry, put on fat, and then go into the cave or the hibernation for 4 or 5 or 6 months, lose all that body fat, and then put it on again in the summer. So summertime is calorie positive. You eat a lot. Winter is calorie deficient, where you eat less. And then in every 12-month cycle, we're skinny again. And then we put on the weight. We go into the winter. We lose the weight. We put it on. It's normal for us to do that. What is not normal, what is very unhealthy for humans, is to carry the summer weight through the winter, because we don't run out of food in the winter. In fact, we eat more in the winter for the most part. Most people are more active in the summer. They're outside. They're exercising. They're eating light. Winter comes and they start packing down the calories. It's called comfort foods. They know what they're doing. You know, the powers that be that want you to be sick know what they're doing. So they promote these really fattening, sugar-laced foods in the winter. So we end up coming out of the winter, spring, and we're still fat. And it hasn't gone away. I've been this weight for 10 years. And I got high blood pressure, and I'm developing neuropathy, and I'm getting to the point where I don't want to. I have low libido, even though I'm in my 20s or 30s. I don't want to have sex anymore because it's a vascular disease. It affects your blood flow to your. And my feet hurt all the time. My toes are starting to get crunched up in my shoes. My arch fell. I've got flat feet. I've developed a heel spur, pain in my heel. I don't know where it's come from. You know, and I got to get rid of this weight, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. There's so much confusion when it comes to food. What to eat, what not to eat, high carb, low carb, high protein, no protein, fats, no fats, starving, intermittent, starvation, keto diet, Mediterranean diet, Cabbage Patch diet, right? It's, oh, my God. It's very simple. Everything you learned in kindergarten, okay? You just forgot. If you're tired, take a nap. If you got to pee, don't walk around holding your wiener. Go to the bathroom. Don't go in your pants, right? Get enough sleep. Don't take things that aren't yours. You don't have permission. It's not yours. You don't take them, right? Be kind. Hold hands when you cross the street. So at my Slim Body Laser Spa, I have developed a process, a technique, a sure thing. And you can come in and take advantage of it for only $49 to find out if it's something that can help you. That's a one-time upfront fee to have a consultation, to go through the process and actually get a laser treatment. The consultation itself is no charge, but if you want to try the laser one time, it's $49. Now, our program is 9 sessions in 3 weeks. One visit is not going to be enough to make any kind of permanent change to your body fat. It's impossible. It takes a series of treatments, but you can at least touch the technology, feel it, see that if it's something that is safe. I know it's safe. I can tell you it's safe, but you need to try it. And many, many of you out there, if you come in for the consult and you want to do it, we actually will credit you the $49 towards an incredible discount on a full plan. So that's kind of how we make it work. You come in, you get the consult, you want to try it, it's $49. If you want to do the plan and you want to embrace it, then we give you extra visits. We give you, carte blanche to come in and do the plan at a sharp discount. I'm not going to tell you what they are because everybody's different when they come in. So if you're fortunate enough to come in and you've been through the process, you can then share your story. And I have a few stories here that I'm going to go over the next 10 minutes of people that have come in and have received care. Every single one of these that I'm going to share with you is they were written in hand by the client. They signed by the client. There's a picture of them, of their face, and then their own handwriting. And we have these, and I can show you on the Facebook what it looks like. I can give you the phone number of these people if you wonder if they're telling you the truth. All right. I think it's obvious. It's pretty truthful. So here's one. Her name is Lauren Samiento. She looks like she's about in her 30s. And here's what she wrote. I have been going to the gym for 4 years and couldn't lose my belly fat. After 9 treatments, I lost 3 5/8 inches from my stomach. My stomach looks flatter. I am so glad I found this place. The entire staff is super friendly. I would definitely recommend it. The backside. This is a super nice. Her name is Brenda Fuchs, Fuchs. She looks to be well in her over 60s. Let's put it that way. She wrote, I lost 7 inches in 3 weeks in only 9 treatments off her belly. My starting weight was 160 pounds. My finished weight was 153. I am signing up today for maintenance to reach my goal weight. Thank you, Dr. Tread. And that's from Brenda F. Here we have a testimonial from a professional athlete. I know this woman pretty well. I've spent time with her since she left. She's actually bought a vibration plate. She got some really great results. She's a professional athlete for over 20 years. Her name is Helen Taffy Walker. She calls herself Taffy. She's a wife and mother of 45 years. That's her testimonial. Hold it up in front of the Facebook. You can see it. And I'll read it to you. I spent 20 years as a professional athlete. Physical and mental health was my priority, she said. I was happily married for 45 years, concentrated on my business, band, and family lovingly in the last 5 years, I lost my husband to stay healthy when my husband needed me the most 24/7. And what happened is for the last 5 years, she let her health go because she was taking care of her husband and she needs help. And that's what she wrote here. And it wrote here, I've always exercised, but my stomach and my midriff would not respond to my efforts. I joined Dr. Tread's system of food, health, and exercise and laser and have been blown away with the progress. In 3 weeks, I've lost 6.5 inches in 9 treatments. I got another one. This is a Miss Joan Summers. Again, she's definitely over 65. This was my last try at losing weight, and it worked. That's what she wrote. Since I gained weight with a broken ankle, then a blood clot, I was at my last try at losing weight. And then she highlighted, I lost 6.75 inches in 3 weeks around my midsection. The program was successful, and I want to thank the ladies of the staff. They were great at helping me. Thank you. It's kind of hard to read the writing. All right. There's another one. Kenneth Stewart. Mr. Kenneth. I remember him very well. There's his picture. He's got to be 75, 80 years old for sure. Here's what he wrote. I couldn't believe how the laser was able to reduce the fat by 5 inches overall. The session was easy, painless, and really quite relaxing. The staff was great in making me feel comfortable during the whole process. I also like the taste of the protein shakes that helped me lower my calorie intake daily. And I lost 6 pounds in addition to the 5 inches in only 3 weeks. Thank you, Kenneth Stewart. All right. I got another one. Agnes Stewart. Maybe that's just a coincidence that they have the same last name. I'm not sure. She's much younger than him, though. So this has been an amazing journey with the Slim Body Laser Spa. This is Agnes's testimonial. When I started, I was skeptical, but I knew that it had to try something I had not tried before to improve my health and overall quality of life. I am a diabetic, and I was growing increasingly concerned about my diet and the diabetes. I am excited to say that I have lost a total of 5.5 inches in 9 treatments, and that was also off of her belly. I had a recent checkup and blood work with my doctor who reflected a drop in my A1C and other numbers. Hallelujah. The staff is tremendous and have helped me greatly to improve my eating habits. It's Agnes Stewart. Yeah, I signed all these people, so I know these people personally. And so here's one, and this is Lois Deppen, Deppen. She's about, I'd say, in her early 60s. I finally found a place to get my motivation and a kickstart into losing the muffin top and belly fat, she wrote. After 9 treatments, I lost 7.5 inches and some weight along with it. Follow what they want you to do, and you will succeed. Thanks again, Slim Body Laser Spa. Lois. Up on the back, Carol Morgan. I think she's real estate, if I'm not familiar. Sure. Anyway, I have totally enjoyed the whole Slim Body Laser Spa experience, from the protein shakes, laser treatments with a nap, vibrating machine, which is great, and most importantly, the 6 inches I lost with the help of the great staff. Thanks again, Carol. Sandy Fagu. She's in her 40s. Got a lot of people here. It was a wonderful experience at the Slim Body Laser Spa. I lost 4.5 inches in just 3 weeks and 9 treatments. The experience has given me a whole new perspective on life and has boosted my self-confidence and appearance tremendously. I am going to recommend Slim Body Spa to all my friends. Also, the professionalism and courteousness of the staff members make the experience worth it all. I am a very happy and satisfied. All right. Here's another one. Seems to be a run on real estate these days. This is Lynn Marino, good friend of mine. If you're honest with yourself, how many diets and weight loss programs or even surgeries have you been or had? Did you get the results you wanted? What about the money you spent? This is her testimonial. I can personally say I've been through many. After a failed knee replacement over 3 years, I gained a great deal of weight. I tried just about everything and spent a great deal of money with no results. Laser spot treatments, nutritional plan, supportive staff at the Slim Body Laser Spa was the best amount of money that I've ever spent on myself. And the greatest thing about it is it works. This program has not only been successful with my weight loss, it has helped my bone growth, circulation, and the inflammation because of my knee. I cannot imagine why more people are not doing this when it is healthy for your entire body. And that's Lynn Marino. Got a couple. Cindy H. If I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, I would not have believed it. I lost 6 inches in 3 weeks after 9 treatments. How easy. Dr. Tread, Juan, and Ashton made this a relaxing, awesome experience. Thank you. And Cindy wrote, P.S. I love Ashton. And Ashton was a sweetheart. All right. This one is a special one for me. Mary Stanley. She had a lot of health issues when she started, and I ended up sending her to see my sister, Dr. Caroline, because of some cervical brachial syndrome, some problems. So not only was I able to help her with her weight and her midsection, I was also to help her with her musculoskeletal pinched nerve because my whole family are chiropractors. So here's her story, Mary Stanley, and there's a picture of her. I've had 9 sessions and I've lost 6 3/4 inches in my abdominal area. I've always been active doing exercise and ballroom dancing, but now I see a big difference in the way my clothes fit. I can see my abdominal muscles again. Without the laser lipo procedure, I would not have gotten to see these changes in my tummy. The laser lipo treatment helped me target my abdomen, which was an area difficult for me to keep trim. The staff is friendly and knowledgeable about the services. Each session was so relaxing that I would fall asleep. That's the second person that said they sleep through the process, by the way. And there was no pain. This is a very good investment, and I would recommend it to anyone, and I will do it again. Thank you, Slim Body Laser Spa. Patricia White. I am so happy with my results from the program. I had no problem with weight, but I had stubborn pockets of fat in my lower abdomen and flanks. After 9 sessions, I got and relaxed during the treatment. It's hard to read her handwriting. My energy and muscle tone have also improved. Thank you, Dr. Tread, Juan, and Ashton, and of course, Courtney. I don't know who that was. All right, we got another one. Monique Matthews. There she is, Monique. African-American, beautiful smile. I lost 9.5 inches in 3 weeks, and she put 9 treatments with the laser treatment. I have been trying diets and everything else for years, and nothing worked. But now, after 3 weeks, I am back in a size 10, and I'm very happy about my slim look. I can't wait to get to a size 8. Thank you, Slim Body Laser Spa. Wow. Loretta Lentini. I wonder. I had a great experience at the Slim Body Laser Spa. I lost 7 1/4 inches. Juan and her staff were very knowledgeable in nutrition and weight loss. Happy customer. Here's somebody else. Fran Roy. Her first name is Fran. I'll show you a picture. Okay. I started in mid-February, and after 3 weeks and 9 treatments, I lost 8 inches. I continued with treatments, losing weight in inches. Everyone is so helpful and nice. I just turned 85. I feel so much better. I have friends I have trimmed up all over. I have so much more energy now. Thank you all for your caring and willingness for my morning visits. She wanted to come in first thing in the morning. So she's 85. She lost 8 inches in 3 weeks at 85 years old. No surgery, no downtime, no burning, no killing cells, nothing. Just most people go to sleep. I could do this until the cows come home. There's one here I want to share with you. This guy, his name is Robert, and his last name is Strojny, Strojny. Unusual name. And his nickname, and it says right on here, is called the Laser Boy. So Laser Boy lost 6-inch loss in 3 weeks. And he wrote, "This program works and the people here are super. My weight loss for this period was 16 pounds. So we lost 16 pounds and 6 inches. So he was on the vibration plate with others. And I walked in, I said, "How's it going, Bob, Robert?" And he looks at me and he goes, "Just call me Laser Boy," as he shook. And I was like, "You got it, Laser Boy." So when he gave his testimonial on our wall, we put the little sign, it's a little tag on it, says Laser Boy. Now he called himself Laser Boy, not me, but he got some great results. All right. I got hundreds of these, literally 650. If you want to see them, I got about 60 right on my website under Love Letters. If you want to check it out, it's called the Slim Body Laser Spa, laser assisted weight loss, body sculpting. We're located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across the street from the Fresh Market. You can go online, drtred.com, or just put in Slim Body. Remember, we got the $49 special for those who call. Have a great day. I hope you're doing well. Bye-bye.